Hello, my dear friends. It's Yuri Tsvetkov, and today I'm going to make a fifth video about the golf statistics, and this video will be about a Patrick Cantlay. The reason to make this video is the results of the Patrick Cantlay of the yesterday, when after the first day of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And yesterday, Patrick Cantlay was the second with a quite good result, -6 and 66 strokes. I always want to make the video about the Patrick Cantlay because, in my opinion, he have very good results in the scrambling. And many years ago, when I have started to study statistics of different players from the PGA Tour, I have found I have tried to find the most the biggest correlation between the money made during the golf season and other components, which will be mostly describe why those or other people have made huge money. I have started to calculate it in the times when the Steve Stricker was the leader in the money list during 2 years. I'm not remember exactly, maybe it was 2007 or 2008. And I have found that these relationships and the position in the money list and the size of money will mostly depend from the multiple factor. This multiple factor was calculated by two figures, by the well-known green and regulation percentage, multiplied for less popular, less important, but very important, really, the scrambling. And you see that when any player, starting from the Ernie Els to the Tiger Woods to the Steve Stricker and later Luke Donald, when he was the best in one of the years, if the player had the multiple number near 42%, so he need to have approximately 0.7 in the 60%, 70% in the greens and regulation, and in greens and regulation, yes, and approximately 60, 62, 3 or 66% in the scrambling. He will be one of the best in the money list during this season. I hope to make video only about this component to analyze it relationships with during the later periods and during the last years and for the many players, but I will need some time to do this job. But the Patrick Cantlay exactly interesting because he have very good positions in the scrambling. He was short in the scrambling. That was a reason for me to calculate how the well in scrambling players, and he is just after the after Tommy Fleetwood and the Webb Simpson. We have analyzed the Webb Simpson last week, and in this connection currently we are studying the Patrick Cantlay, who are on the third position in this list. Webb Simpson's position on the second place in the scrambling is let us some reasons to expect that scrambling is a highly influential component of the game for the players who are going to have a good money in the Pro Tour. So So Patrick Cantlay was second yesterday. Unfortunately, statistics of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am is not so highly opened as it was last week, for example, or for some other tournaments. Because if we will try to see a play-to-play statistics for the Patrick Cantlay, for example, we will find that we have just information about that the stroke was made from the tee shot, so tee box. So we have not information about exactly result of the stroke. I mean the distance and the position of the ball after the stroke and so on. So it's quite difficult to analyze it. So we can see just for the total results of the statistics. So we can see that Patrick Cantlay was very attentive about his driving yesterday, and it was very reasonable on such a difficult course as the Pebble Beach. But he was very accurate, perfectly accurate, and his green and regulation percentage were also good. So he's receiving a good advantage for the ball position from the driving driving strokes, and he is converted it in the good greens and regulation percentage. But meanwhile, that in this connection, his performance, his birdies. He have 9 birdies. It's an amazing result for such a difficult course. But he had 3 bogey. What seems a little bit more than necessary for such level player, but we certainly know that, for example, Cameron Champ have played 2 double bogeys yesterday. So in this connection, the course is difficult, and so it's reasonable and good statistics for him. Unfortunately, we can't anything to analyze for his yesterday game, so we need to go to the full statistics. Excuse me. For the full statistics of this player. Oh, unfortunately, I have gone in the place. I'm sorry. So here we are. We will start from again from the starting where he have turned to pro. Currently he is 27 and he's on the tour from 2012. In this connection, he not exactly in the he became the turned pro 5 years later than the Dustin Johnson or the Webb Simpson, but 5 years early than Cameron Champ did. So his scoring average is not so it seems that it's not so low figures, but it's quite good in the relative performance to the other players. We can see the brief look for the 2020 statistics, because this season is very short. In this connection, it's not so highly informative, but we can see that of the tee he is quite good, and the approaches he is increasing his influence, increasing his results. Around the green, it looks like he is not so highly strong, but in my opinion, this figure is not so highly relative with his good scrambling statistics. And in the putting, he quite averages. He is not his excellent putter, but his total result is perfect. This year he is on the 7th position in the total results. But the more interesting and more important is statistic for the last year, because it's more informative. We see that it's not so highly different from this year, and it is giving us the chance to expect that and to say that the Patrick is a very statistical player. So maybe he have not a huge rounds which are much more better than average, but he also have not the rounds which are much more less than average. So the first we're starting as always from the driving distance, and we need to say that his driving distance is not so highly different with the leader, with the Cameron champ. It's only 10, maybe not 10, but 12 yards different with the leader in this component of game. In this connection, it's not his poor part of the game. He's he still in the 10% of the best players in this component. Driving accuracy was not so highly good. We see that he was in the worst 15% of all the players on the tour. Greens and regulation percentage is approximately in the middle result, 67%, but we see that it's close to the 70%. It's quite a good result. The birdie average is the fourth position, so the birdies are quite a usual figure for the Patrick Cantlay. In this video I will try also to analyze the scoring much more attentive. We didn't analyze it in the previous videos, and I think that maybe it was a mistake in some cases, because here we can find such figures as the par 3 scoring average, par 4 scoring average, and par 5 scoring average. I have analyzed the total statistics of many players in the previous years, and I have found that it is quite interesting and really quite interesting. You see that in this component he's very close to the par, but he's on the third position with just 0.03 strokes to the par. Idea, and in the par 4 statistics he is also have very close to the par, and he also have a third position. It just means that the good player is those one who is statistically playing par 3 at the par average, and who are playing the par 4 in the par average, and on the par 5 he have exactly statistic which is close to the Patrick Cantlay. If he is playing 4.5 strokes at average on the par 5, he will be among the 10 best players in the, and plus that he has the usual statistics close to the par on the par 4 and par 3. He will be one of the 10 best players in the money list. This is very important in my opinion, and this is highly useful. So we see that the birdie or better percentage is approximately 25% for him, and they are distributed this way that approximately 18% birdie or better percentage for the par 3. For par 4, birdie or better percentage is 20, and for par 5, birdie or better percentage is 50%. So the Patrick Cantlay is a model of the very good player, and it's very reasonable why he have made so good money in the official money, and he was at the 4th position on the money list. In this connection, it's very interesting to analyze experience exactly of this player. So we have analyzed the tee strokes and approaches to the green. We see that he's on the 10th position in the approaches to the green, and it's also a very strong component of his game. Greens in regulation percentage, as we said, it's at average, but here is not so big difference between the the players. And this connection 67% is just maybe the difference for the next players, or the previous ones is only 1/10 or 1/100. He's very good in the going to the green, the fifth position. Going to the green to better for green birdie or better. It's also not so bad. Proximity to the hole is not so so highly high. It's approximately between the average 20% of the players. Around the green, we see that from the game around the green, he is not. It seems that he have not so big advantage, but exactly in this component, you can't receive highly big advantage because it's not so many strokes are making around the green. And this connection, it seems that this component is not so highly influensive, but in reality, it is. Because you see that with such, it seems that not so big advantage, he's on the sixth position, and it's describing him as a very good player. And it's very relative to his scrambling position, the third position, and 66%. And we see that from sand he's not so excellent, but proximity to the hole from the sand is very good. And plus that the scrambling from the fridge will be better, but not so bad. The scrambling from the rough, not so strong as the scrambling in this connection. It's not so big difference, just 3%. Not so influensive, but and it's not so many attempts in this connection. It depends. The results depends from the every 1 or 2 strokes. So we see that in scrambling from more than 30 yards, the Patrick Cantlay is leading, have a leading position near from the 45%. In the scrambling from 20 to 30 yards in the sorting position, and closer to the green, it's a little bit less efficient than from the more longer strokes. I mean that efficient relative to the other players, not exactly in the total figures. And currently, before that we will analyze the putting, I think that if you are going to have the good results in the scrambling and the approach game, maybe for you it will be much more useful to look for the technique exactly of the Patrick Cantlay, because you see that in these components of the game he's the best. And I have idea that some of the players who are long hitters, they have a very quick muscles, and sometimes it is quite difficult for them to control their body and their muscles in the shorter game. And this connection, the long swing of those long hitters looks much more efficient. For example, the Cameron Champ's swing is looking much more efficient than the Patrick Cantlay, but in reality, not so quickly player, Patrick Cantlay as the Cameron Champ, have additional preferences, additional advantage from the components of the game which are not relative with the full swing performance. With those components which are made by chipping or pitching and the approaching. But for the most of the players, the approaching is quite often it's also some kind of pitching, because they are not making the full swing for making approach and attacking the green. So this is my idea. I think, and I have tried to do it for myself, and currently I have results which led me to say that this idea is quite workable, because you see that it's working very well. So if you want to study the full swing, you can see for most efficient techniques, such one as the Cameron Champ, as the Alexander Schaufele, or even the Jacob Niemann. But if you are going to study the swing for the approaches and for the scrambling, you need to see for such a place as the Webb Simpson, as the Patrick Cantlay, and maybe also the just a moment. Oh, sorry, I forget the leader. Oh, Tommy Fleetwood. But Tommy Fleetwood is very special. He's, in my opinion, his technique is very volatile, and from swing to swing, from the video to video, it's a little bit more different than other players. So the last component which we will analyze today is the putting. In the putting, Patrick still have some advantage, and he is still in the 10 in the maybe 12 best percent of all the tour players, but it's not so highly stroke advantage as some other excellent putters have. So in the putting average, it's 10 position. It's quite good. It's good in putting. 8 positions in the overall putting average is excellent. And one putt percentage he is also very close to the first. He is in the first 20 players, and on the 3 putt avoidance, 2% is 23rd position. It's also good component for him. So those distances which I think are quite critical, it's putting from 4 to 8 feet. We see that it's 70%. It's quite a good result, but it's only 72nd position. So he is in the average place in this component, and the putting inside 10 inches, he is also in the average of the all tour players. So it's also giving us idea that if you have a very good scrambling, you need not to be excellent putter. You mostly need to be the excellent chipper and excellent pitcher, and maybe flopper. In this connection, you see that it's a little bit different component of the game, which need to training process organized with the very big attention to the scrambling results. And the money are not only on the green, but money are all over the green. Thank you very much. Again, I have quite a long video, but I hope that it will be also useful for you. I have used some new ideas in this video relative to the previous ones, and I hope to do it in the future. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope for your visits of my channel, for your comments as usual, and your ideas about the components which are necessary to be analyzed. Thank you very much. Hope to see you again. Bye bye. Have a good AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Bye.